any real gamer has some good memories of Age of Empire. I think it was one of the first strategy games for many people. And it was a great time to play it. Now I found this project that is 0AD, and it's an open source, free, cross-platform, real-time strategy game of ancient warfare. And it is currently an incomplete, under development version of the game, but it's pretty advanced in my opinion. I played it a bit. I will show it to you in a second. And they have a website, they have forum, they have their own Git. So this is not GitHub. It looks like GitHub, but it is their hosted Git. And their website is up to date and it's awesome. And they cover a lot of things about the project. They have even building concepts of how it started out, about the Romans army camp, and some sketches and concept art. It's a really fun project and repository. And let me show you, like, we're going to cover a little bit of how this project is structured, and then we're going to dive into the code. But it started in 2001, okay, so more than 20 years ago. And it is still being updated. Like if I check the repo, it has 24,000 commits. And the last commit was 15 hours ago. Add small metal ore mine objects to the game. So you see, it's like, this is not just, oh, let's bump the version just to get a recent commit update. They are really updating it continuously. And I think it's a small community of very passionate people that work on that. But the association or the group behind, or the company behind Wildfires, it's called Wildfires? Wildfires, where is it? Is it here? It's Wildfire Games. And Wildfire Games, it seems that they, work on that. They have their homemade open source 3D game engine that is called Pyrogenesis. And this is why this game is so kind of great as a comparison to Age of Empire. Rome at War was an Age of Empire 2 mod pack. All right. So they possibly released the largest mod for Age of Empire to Age of King. So this is awesome. This repo, you will see, if you want to build a real-time strategy game, you should look into that, because they have implemented a lot of components in it, and you can get good ideas of how you need to build units, how you need to build formations, how you want to handle increasing the experience of your soldiers that perform certain tasks, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty cool. This website is good old school website. What is also great about this project is that everyone is invited to join and contribute to 0AD on a completely voluntary basis, so you don't get paid, to gain game development experience, to comply with a school project, or just for fun. So after reading all this, you will see that, if you want to dive into real-time strategy game and maybe not start from scratch, contributing to such project might be kind of a good way for you to up your skills. Of course, it's all in C++, and the gameplay scripting is in JavaScript. So we're going to see this later on, how it looks like. I have my opinion on that. And game logic, artwork, and data can easily be changed through data files. You will see also how this looks like. They have everything. All the 3D models are in Collada files, and they're overall easy to manipulate and so on. The other great thing in this project, especially for game developers, is, if I would find it again, they have a wiki somewhere. Let me just find it. It's a wiki on Git. And this wiki is well done. I think it is super well done. So for programmers, for artists, and if I check, for example, for artists, texture file format. Okay, let's maybe take a look at that. And you get the details of what kind of texture you want, what is the compression, if you do Photoshop, what do you want to have, and MIP maps, and so on and so forth. And this is super interesting. Like, you don't find always information about how you should size your textures and so on. And this kind of repo is great because you can just learn a lot from it. Code quality and so on, coding conventions, nothing too strict, just some basic things so everybody writes a little bit the same way. And yeah, that's about that. Should we play the game? I guess so. I installed it in a virtual machine. So I'm going to start it up in an Ubuntu 24, and I installed it because even though it's an open source project, you can download it and compile it. I have some security concerns when installing random stuff. I don't say this is random stuff. I say I would feel much more comfortable if it would be released on Steam or on another platform. I'm on Mac, so directly when I downloaded the .app, it complains that it says, oh, it's not from a registered developer and so on. So I will launch the game to just play a little bit. I installed it on an Ubuntu 24, and the reason for that is that my trust in random projects, and I don't say this in a negative way, is pretty low. And from a security point of view, since this game is not released on Steam or any other platform, I cannot go through kind of the official way to install something. So when I download it, of course, the Mac directly complains, oh, this is not from a known developer, I don't open it. So I have to go settings, say, and force it, yeah, allow it. And we have seen that sometimes bad stuff are hidden in open source projects. So I'm always careful when I install stuff. So especially for a game, I don't say there's malware in it. I just say I'm not going to risk anything to install a game on my main PC. So I'm just going to install it in a virtual machine, and we're going to play it like that. Terminal 0AD, and it's going to start it up. It's laggy, but anyway. Okay, this is better. So I will just continue my campaign. Pretty good, the loading progress. You will see how the loading progress works. It's awesome. All right, so this is a game, it's Age of Empire. I can select my villages. Let me select one. It's super laggy, but it's okay, I don't care. You have the minimap, you have the villager. It's so small, I cannot read it. It's written Ubuntu, so somehow it puts the name of my computer there on my user. 25, it is, you can build stuff with it. I have my army, for example, here with formations. So we're going to see how the formations look like if I change this. Let's make a box. So laggy. Let's zoom in. The textures are fine. The textures are fine. Formation like that. Open border. This is great. So I will later dive into the code of how the formations work, because I think this is kind of a cool feature to go. And what I like with this feature of formation is that the formation is making a group. So I can just not anymore select like that, but I can just select the formation and they will move all around together. So it's like a formation becomes a group. So it's a single click. And you can collect resources, you can build stuff. No one is building this. Maybe I should select a few villagers to build this. You, go build this. All right. And you have all the standard things that you would find in an Age of Empire-like game. You have your phases or your time periods to upgrade from one time to the next time. Now I'm in the second period. The third one is not unlocked yet. I have to unlock things first. You have, for example, your barracks. You can put your waypoints. You have your stable and so on. And if I take just one, you see you can build all kinds of stuff. So if I want to build like a sentry tower, I will click on the sentry tower, put it there. And there is a kind of a free system. I mean, it's not a grid system because I can really place things everywhere, like by the millimeter. So let's put something there. This zone here, this blue zone, is my territory. And it seems I cannot build outside of this territory. Oh, someone is attacking me. The sound also doesn't work on the virtual machine. So let's get rid of them. Are you going to defend? Yes. Yes. They're going to get stomped. Goodbye. And last one. Goodbye. This is a declaration of war. This is terrible. I think we should just go, just for demo purposes, to war. It's laggy. It would be great if they would have an official release on Steam and so on. I have a few more videos planned about other open source projects, and some of which are on Steam playable, which is really awesome. So let's just attack them to show you. Can I do A? No, I cannot do like just aggressive, defensive. Let's put violent. Attack nearby opponent. All right. Is this enough? Let's see. I'm pretty early in the game. But you see there is hills, there are trees, resources, some birds flying around. It's a pretty complete game. They say it's incomplete, but it looks really awesome for an open source project. And the models, there's so many models. So let's destroy this tower. Is this enough? Let's go. So are they just going, they're aggressive, they're just self-organized? And I cannot break this. So then let's just kill everyone. It's fine. Let's see how far we can go. Maybe I need to bring siege stuff to break everything. But anyway, that's the game. All right. Age of Empire-like game. It's a fun one. I like it. So if it wouldn't be so laggy, I would maybe play a bit more, but just for demo purposes. Oh, more people are coming. I'm going to lose this battle, I guess. I'm not that prepared. I just created, I think, 25 units, something like this. Then I went ahead. But I know, like I can also just kill all the villagers and then go back and continue building up. I have pretty good amount of food, so you have the resources right there. You need to build housing and so on, and so forth. So yeah, that's a game. I'm going to close it. Power of machine. Yes. All right, let's go to the code. It's going to be interesting. Spoiler alert, there are no crazy comments in here. There are a few fix-me's, a few hacks, but nothing crazy. It's a serious and disciplined repository. What is great in this repo is the actual code and how it works. In the sources, you have, and it's well organized, you have a main CPP. That's it. This is a starting point. I guess they update the copyright every year because it's copyright 2025, but with 24,000 commits and a repo from 2001, you can imagine that it's a big history behind it. This module drives the game when running without Atlas, our integrated map editor. It receives input and OS messages via SDL and feeds them into the input dispatcher, where they are passed onto our game GUI and simulation. It also contains main, which either runs the above controller or that of the Atlas, depending on command line parameters. So they have a built-in map editor as well. This is great. So SDL is a C++ library to build games. It's pretty low level, but it supports all platforms, even iOS and Android. So you can actually, build, if you want to learn C++ and game development from kind of, the base, this is a good thing to try it. They have a quick reference, which is pretty fun. So we have all the methods, or probably nearly all the methods that SDL provides. Setting errors, properties, logs, handling videos, get window parent, get window model, set window focusable, and so on. Events, has event, flush event, wait for event, and so on. To have an event system built in. All the keyboard stuff, get keyboard focus, keyboard state, input, start input, text input, and so on. But that's not the topic of today. Today we check this code base. Lots of include, and you will see that the code is not that complicated. We have here some enum, shutdown type, none, quit, restart as Atlas. I'm guessing the enum type is like at some point the user can say, I want to shut down. The enum is changed, and there's somewhere a loop that will finish up what it has to finish, and then whatever the state is, will perform that state. You see, it's kind of, okay, is the quitting requested? Yes or no. So if it is quit engine means we change the G shutdown to quit. If we want to restart engine, we set it to restart, and so on. Main input handler with SDL. So we check the event type that we are getting and then do something with it. All right. Oh, what is if you are click on the screenshot button, the big screenshot button, the toggle full screen, whatever that is, mouse grab toggle, and so on. We have here something to limit FPS. So here you are reading from the configuration the FPS value. So we have an FPS value for when you play and when you are in a menu. So obviously I think in the menu you don't need that high of an FPS. You can go by with something lower than while you play. Delay, I guess, is like a wait, you know. Progressive load. And then we have the frame. I guess the frame is called every frame, you know. We have some profiler thing. So if I check what is this doing, it's a macro. Starts timing from now until the end of the current scope, and so on. So we start to time and increment the frame number for the profiler and so on. And somewhere here we call reload change file, which is interesting. Basically, they allow hot reloading, or in some way, because remember in the beginning we saw that there's a C++ part and a JavaScript part, and probably the JavaScript part is something you can hot reload on the fly. Progressive load, and then somewhere, I think here, there's a game we call the update method, and that will update the game. After this is the main game loop, I guess. If I check what is happening in the update method, we are now in the game CPP. All right, so our first to do here, the update method, and here we take the turn manager and we call the update right here. So to show you a bit, how about we check the input system? There's an input GS and an input CPP and an input CPP, but in source lib. I think this one is a SDL thing. So I think it's C input, just to a bit look around. Manually handle keys. So we check the event type of the key. So if it is an SDL underscore hotkey down, we do this. If it is a text input, we do this. If it is text editing, we do this. There is also the key down, key up, basically gets handled in similar way, except if, well, it's an escape, if it is a cancel, if it is a left control or left command or Windows key, I think this is a Windows key, or right one. If it is down, we do that. I would really like a little bit of comment here. Now, for example, the input.js, so now we're in JavaScript. And this one is in the session. The session, I think it's like the game. The entire engine is in C++, but a lot of the gameplay is in JavaScript. Like actually most of the gameplay is in JavaScript and some configuration files. So updating the cursor and the tooltip in JavaScript, okay? Update building placement preview in JavaScript. Do I like this? No, I do not. Determine action in JavaScript. So what action we can do on whatever, as a context-sensitive action that should be performed when the mouse is at this coordinate. So this is all in JavaScript. Cheats, cheats.cs. Will we find things like Pepperoni Pizza or other cheats, classical cheats of Age of Empire? We load the cheats from a JSON file in this directory. This is coming as an input somewhere, no? Directory is a simulation data cheats. The cheats require a numeric parameter, all right. So simulation data cheats is in public. I think it's in public. Simulation data cheats. One file per cheat, all right? So for example, create heroes. I want to own them. So I guess you type this in the chat and there are a few templates defined and the default parameter is 1. So you say, I want to own them, space 1. For example, you get this. I want to own them, space 2, you get this, and so on. Change phase. So change phase 1, you go to change 1, to phase 1, change phase 2, you go to phase 2, and so on. Change max population. A very simple way to define cheat codes. All right. Not encrypted, nothing. It's just there. Reveal map, jam. Okay, you type jam, or action is reveal map. Oh no, the action will be what is called. Yes, and your mod, and this one is what you type in. Your money or your life to get some metal. To get some wood, bring me my axe. This is awesome. So you see, if you want to build cheats, you could organize your cheats in simple, let's say, configuration files, and then have your game pass that data and call this. So where we are calling this. So if the cheats are enabled, obviously, maybe you want to disable them explicitly, especially in a multiplayer game. So we add a chat message. So you see that you are cheating, and maybe the other person also see that you're cheating. And then post network command. So the cheat.action, cheat.type, and then probably this runs and calls the function afterwards. There's a tutorial in the game as well. Introductory tutorial. It's in JavaScript again. And how the tutorial works is like there's a box on the top and it tells you should do this, and then it waits that you are doing this. And then when it's done, it tells you, okay, great. Well, now click on the building and build your first unit, for example. So it's like a list and tutorial goals. All right, so you get an instruction and a goal. So each goal might have something that is waiting on that the player has to do, or it's just text explanation and you can just continue. So the first one is just an instruction, mark for translation. Welcome to Zero AD tutorial. Enter, you go to the next one. Left click on a female citizen and then right click on a berry bush to make that female citizen gather food. Female citizens gather vegetables faster than other units. And then the player command that it is waiting on. If the command type is gather and the target, there is a target and the resource type of that target is a fruit, next goal. So I think on player command is kind of a callback. So every time you do an action in your game, that action will also call this function right here. Basically, you can select your female citizens, for example, or you select your Spartan. Let's say you select a Spartan and then you say collect berries. Well, this command collect berries will be like, okay, then I call on player command and check. And it will say, oh, gathering, yes. There's a target, yes. And the target is fruit. So here, for example, it doesn't enforce that you use a female citizen. It just enforces that you need to gather fruits. So you can use another unit, gather the fruits, and it would still mark it as the goal is completed. Select a citizen soldier. So that's the next one. So it doesn't check also if it is a citizen soldier. You just need to gather a tree and so forth and so on. You have other callbacks as well on training queue. So here is like you need to build an additional units, and then this callback gets called. So the query interface, engine.query interface, as understood, it's kind of a get component. So you are trying to get the component of some kind from an object. And so on. That's a full tutorial in JavaScript. Awesome. Next thing I want to show you is the formation system. So we saw that there is a formation system. So somewhere in data modes public simulation templates special formation, you have all kinds of formation. You have formations for ships, for boxes, for flank, for nothing, and so on. And if I take the box formation, you need minimum 4 members, requires at least 4 soldiers on siege engine. It's a formation type of square. There is a max turning angle and sorting class. So I guess who goes first or who goes last, whatever. So the generic name is a box formation box.png for the icon. So you can imagine this is kind of a scriptable object or just a configuration file for this formation. And this thing here, so if I check formation shape, I think this can be found easily in other places. So we have also the other formation. Anti-cavalry is a bit more complex. You see we have columns, minimum columns, maximum columns, max rows, and some animation variants. That syntax, awesome. This formation shape should be normally, it is evaluated in formation.js. Are you a fan of JavaScript? Are you a fan of XML? Are you a fan of XML in JavaScript? This is awesome. It hurts to see this. It just hurts. All right, we have an init method here, and so on, blah, 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 blah. Set formation, get member count. So we're just reading from what we have read from the XML file. And where are we applying that? We get the animation variants. So the formation stuff is pretty interesting. You know, you can I mean, it has to set the members, it has to be able to remove members from the formation, add members from the formation. So when would you remove a member? If a unit dies, probably then that unit is removed from the list of members. Because then you could probably still click on the formation and give it another command. Move members into formation. So we get a component for the position. Alright, we just check if it is valid, I guess. We push some position in this array. More get interfaces. This is stuff like normally, in Unity world, you get told, oh, get component is expensive. Don't do it often. And here we're just doing on the fly as soon as you click on the thing. So we have already 3 get components, and here in a loop. It's probably fine, it's the game runs okay. I mean, in my VM, it doesn't run well. So that was the formation stuff. There is also another fun thing. So for example, increase XP. The units can also increase the experience. So if they combat and so on, they increase the experience. So we're going to check how this works. And if I check for increase XP, we have a promotion.js where the function is defined here. So increase XP function. We query again the promotion component. And if there's a promotion, we increase XP. And I don't know, is this a recursive call? Except this is something else than whatever is this, but this seems that it could be recursive, right? So the current XP, we add our current amount, and then the required XP for probably the next level, we check. If it is above, well, it means that we are leveling up. So we remove current XP minus the required amount, so we'll have current XP that might be still high. And then we get the template for the promotion. I mean, the word template in this game was always some definition, some XML file that defines something. Could be text, could be a particle system, could be something like that. A good while true. Check if you can upgrade a second time or even more. So if there is basically XP left, we continue upgrading. So it's not happening with this, it's happening with here. Not recursively, just a while true. And then a good old break. And then we post a message. Oh, you gained so much experience, probably. And if I check here, test promotion, what is great, they even wrote test cases. So it's one of the rare games where there are actually test cases also written. So a test case to, first we're adding some mock here, so some test data. So promotion to promote this entity in this array needs 1,000. So we construct a component promotion, required XP 1,000, set promotion entity. We increase with whatever current XP we have somewhere, probably in the mock in another place. And we assert. Oh, here we assert, right. So we check, we perform our stuff and then we check, oh, is actually our required XP 1,000. So if we say required XP is 1,000, is it 1,000? Is our get experience is beginning 0? Yes. Is template correctly set? Yes. Modifier, so this is what gets applied to the entity. So then we increase the experience by 200, and is our experience 200? We increase the experience by 800, and well, normally our experience should be 0 because we leveled up, and our required experience should be 1,000 for the next promotion, and probably our template should be different, whatever they have set before. Good test cases. This is why this project is great to learn from if you want to build a game like that, because you can modify the code and run the tests. And if the test still runs, it means you didn't break stuff. Actually, it doesn't mean you didn't break stuff. It means that what you wrote didn't break existing tests, but maybe what you wrote is not tested. So there is that. But it gives you at least a level of confidence that whatever you are adding to the engine and to the game is not breaking existing stuff. And this is a nice way to do it. It's not fun to maintain. I hate maintaining tests, but it's overall for big projects where more people work together, especially in open source settings. Forcing the writing of tests is not a bad thing. Let's a bit check the art and the audio. So in the public audio folder, you have everything. You have all OGG files, fire, building collapsing, explosion, debris, and some XML files describing how, for example, the sound group should be put. So the gain 1, priority 100, and so on. Something that if you build already games sometimes with Unity, this would be done in the interface. Well, here they just define this in a file and read it. And speaking of that, if I check, for example, the sound manager, let me find it like that. Sound manager CPP, it's a pretty, not that complex stuff. I guess it's implementing whatever SDL provides and building on top of that. We have some workers. And what I wanted to see, we have, for example, start the playlist, set master gain, set music gain, set ambient gain, set action gain, set UI gain, very simple methods, item for data, play as a group, play as music. So if I, for example, search for play as music, I will find somewhere in a GS interface sound, kind of, okay, you want to play music? I'm going to call play music on the sound manager. But actually play music is something that is provided for the JavaScript part. So you call play music in JavaScript. And it's not called anywhere here. Not everything is, oh, here you go. So for example, in the functions.utility, we have sound notifications function in JavaScript. And the sound notifications say ng.play UI sound. So this will call the C++ part and then those things. Just to show you how the GS part is defined. How was it? I think it was GS double point. Yeah, something like that. So you have like, you know, take your JavaScript engine. I think C++, if I'm not mistaken, has built in a JavaScript engine to be able to interface with it. So GS dot rooted value and then script, sorry, not dot dot, double colon, script colon, to GS. And then we stringify something, stringify JSON. And if I check on another place, where is a good example of good JavaScript stuff? Here we get a number value. So a lot back and forth between JavaScript and C++. Oof, that must be fun to debug. It for sure makes the creation of gameplay easier. And like in C++, you build the base, the fundamentals. And then in JavaScript, you build the actual gameplay. It's a bit like what I saw is recommended for Unreal Engine. It's like use C++ to build generic components and let the gameplay or the rules of the game be done in blueprints, something like that. Kind of similar, but I'm happy there's no JavaScript in Unity. Oh, here we go. You know, GS, new promise object. You know, in JavaScript, you have promises, you have callbacks. Well, this then, you know, propagates back to C++ where you have to handle those promises and callbacks. This is great. I love this, yeah. How about units? We can also check units. So if I would just search for Spartan, could I find it somewhere? Spart Leonidas, our friend Leonidas. It's in campaign units, okay? Public art actors, yes. So Spart Leonidas, which skeleton to use, the mesh, all right? The texture to use, and some material to apply that texture on. So army mace soldier, use this model, use this texture, and it has some props here. Oh, some particle effect as a prop setup here that is attached to the root, and so on. So it's, you know, like nothing is magic in game engines. And here is, you get a low-level view of how things might actually look like under the hood of a fancy, all-in-one bloated game engine. Under the hood, it might not be that fancy. At the end, you have to read files, you have to have hard-coded strings here and there, and map stuff from one place to another place. If I check the models, just to show you where they were. So we had the audio, we have... Oh, maps is also interesting. So we have scenarios. So here we are setting the environment. Oh, it is raining. The sun color is this RGB value. The angle is this. The sun rotation is this. All in file, XML files, right? Where's the objects? Meshes. All right, here are all the 3D meshes. All right, a bamboo single tree, a bamboo dragon one, single underscore tree, banana tree, and so on. You have all the models. I'm not sure you can reuse them for your own games. The license is GPL, I think. And this has its limitations. Armor, pieces, right? It's awesome. You see how everything has been done. Skeleton, a boar. Not all are loading in my preview. Piglet with animation. Hello, Piglet. Is it? How would you rate this? You know, you see this from far away. I think it's pretty good. It's just good enough. It works. Animal tuna. The bear. A polar bear. What is the difference? So the polar bear is more shaped, and this one has really a good mouth. Camel one. Cattle. A croc. Would be interesting to see what kind of things are applied here on those parts here, because it might be like a transparent sprite, not a sprite, just a transparent texture here to make the tick 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 on the back of the crocodile. A crow, a donkey, elephant, baby elephant. It's great. They really did all the structures are here, how it is modeled. It seems overall well optimized. Like the models are pretty simple, doesn't look anything too high poly, just has, it seems, what it needs to have. I didn't check the wireframe, but you know, they removed everything that is under nearly, and it seems they just kept really what they need to. So you see the models are so simple overall, but in game they look quite good because the textures are doing most of the work for games. Fix Me. There are not many Fix Me in this repository. Discussion Act, Bugzilla, as seen on Stack Overflow, keyboard hide event. So this is not 100% effective solution to the problem of detecting if the keyboard is showing or not. So this seems to be maybe, you know, a limitation of SDL, something like that. Handle and so on. Fix Me, check that endpointer doesn't end up past the end of the buffer. It shouldn't be at all dangerous since those are famous last words. Since we are only doing read-only access, but it might crash on an invalid file. Reading a couple of billion random element names from RAM. No, not a big deal. Fix Me hack to get around exclusive access to the sound device. So for OS, for Unix. Fix this. Very bad to have such things in the API. Macros, you mean? I guess macros. Could try to skip the invalid byte and continue. Write a simplistic hunt for fuzzy flag. And a few more Fix Me. Not many. There are a few hacks. XX, ugly hack to hide some precision issues in GLES. Slide hack. If selection is empty, reset the input state. Hack to do replace. I think you also forgot to say Fix Me, checked, and notes. If you have no trainable template, then we'll simply remove the build order and so on. One more thing I wanted to show that I found was in JavaScript, they used yield. I'm going to take this one in the maps. So let me take something that maybe I can pronounce. Alpine lakes, okay? Generate maps. So we set the biome, we do some stuff, okay? We set the HDR. We say, what is the tile class for water? We prepare them, sorry. And then here we place the player bases. So player ID 1 gets player position. And then we say, oh, the templates for berries will be this template, fruit bush. The mines will be metal large and stone large. And basically we are creating the biome and the environment, okay, based on some templates that we gave. And then we yield 20. Then we create the mountains. And then we yield 30. Write in the comments what you think this is, all right? Creating lakes, doing some lakes, yield 60. Okay, from 30 to 60, why not? Is this like 9 more lines of code? I don't think so, okay. Creating dirt patches, creating grass patches, yield 65. Creating stone mines, metal mines, yield 70. Create decorations, some decorations, 75. Do you already get it what it is? 85. And then finally, we yield the map. You know what it is? Let me take another one. I mean, I will just scroll here. Everywhere there is a yield. Look at that. Yield from 30 to 90, yield until 85, yield until 95. So here we have a bit more, 90, 95, and then the map. Every time at the end we return the map, but we have some yields of numbers before. 85, 85, 95 again. Belgium upland. Yield 5, yield 60, yield 90, done. And it goes on and on. Like all those files, all those maps have some yield statement. Oh, this one has a lot. Oh, here we have like more fine grade. 90, 91, 93, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. Let me tell you what it is. This is the loading progress. That's all there is. It is yielding a number, and that number is used in the progress bar to move the progress bar. So when you see a progress bar, 90%, it's in there, 98, 99, done. It's this. It's hard-coded how the loading is progressing. You think it's a fancy thing, compute the sizes, this and that, compute the time, track the time, start, end, estimate, blah, blah, blah. No. Yield a number that feels right. So the player doesn't feel like the progress is stalling. Every time I implement a loading screen in Unity, I feel like the scene async is pretty bad. It's like jumping from 0 to 90 and then it's waiting there 2 seconds and then it's done. So I find this funny to hard-code the yielding of the process of the progress, but it probably feels great. You have a great feeling and a great user feedback for how the game is moving forward. The other advantage of this is that you could imagine to say, well, I'm going to actually yield maybe a tuple where I say, here it will be, I don't know, putting decorations, or some other funny comments. So you could have a loading bar for the player to watch and wait on. Oh, here we have a yield 100. Will probably not be seen at all. So this is awesome. Great project. The documentation is great. I mean, their wiki is great. They have this would be worth to read at least once, especially the art part, basic 3D implementation. It just explains how things are made and gives you nearly a tutorial of how you should do stuff, and view the model in the atlas. So you can preview them directly in the game engine using their editor and so on. Technical art requirements, bad AO, good AO. It's awesome. This is a great project to learn from. If you are building an Age of Empire-like game, definitely check this out. You will not get more dumb from doing that. Let me know if you want I dive a bit more in certain aspects in detail. Otherwise, keep it up. I have so many more open source game engines and games that I found, so I'm going to cover them over the next few weeks and months. And until then, go work on your game.